This kick streamer was just arrested on multiple felony charges roughly 1 month after he live-streamed himself assaulting a professional wrestler so brutally that the person who called 911 reported it as an attempted homicide. And today we're talking about yet another kick streamer who broadcasted something so vile that a permaban is honestly the least of their worries. This time, Rampage Jackson's, son of UFC fighter Rampage Jackson, who was just arrested on felony charges. And this all comes after he live-streamed himself knocking out the pro wrestler Syko Stu roughly a month ago during an event that he was never even supposed to be a part of. But of course, that's not even the worst of it, because Raja proceeds to jump on top of the unconscious wrestler and punches him in the head 23 times. I was in complete disbelief when I first saw this happen, and I wanted to wait until making a video until Raja was officially arrested. And I knew that was going to happen because even with the footage heavily censored, you can tell those were not WWE punches. He wasn't holding back. That was a full-on UFC style beatdown. Seeing it, that's not even a UFC beatdown, that's just a street fight beatdown. The surprise attack reportedly left the victim, Syko Stu, real name Stuart Smith, allegedly choking on his own blood and teeth. It's also reported that Stu was taken into the hospital with broken bones, missing teeth, brain swelling, and was later placed in a medically induced coma.
What actually happened to Stu? How bad are his injuries?
Broken facial bones is from what I'm hearing, missing teeth. Stu's pretty up, I'll put it this way. What happened yesterday is he choked on his own blood.
On his own teeth, I heard.
Yeah, teeth and blood.
And he lost all of his teeth?
A lot of them.
What condition is he in right now, do you know?
From what I hear, he's having a hard time. He has no recollection of what happened.
He was in a coma overnight, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was induced.
Medically induced.
Had brain swelling as of last night. It's gone down since then, and reports as of late have said that he's up and alive, but just having trouble walking, maintaining his balance. They just took him off a breathing tube this morning.
And when you look into Syko Stu's background, the whole thing becomes even more heartbreaking because he's a retired military veteran who used wrestling as the way to cope with PTSD. Stu ended up joining KnokX Pro, a pro wrestling academy based in Los Angeles, roughly 6 months after he left the military. And he's been vocal about how instrumental wrestling was in his transition back to a normal civilian lifestyle.
Pro in 2009. I had just got out of the military 6 months earlier. I got out of the military. I joined KnokX Pro, because I needed something to focus on. I needed something to help me adjust back into civilian life. A lot of veterans, it's hard for them to readjust into civilian life coming from the life of the military.
I mean, just from watching that video, you can tell how much wrestling means for this guy. And based on his Instagram posts, it's clear that he loves doing it for the fans and the community as well. It's not hard to see that Stu has genuine love and passion for wrestling and everyone surrounding it. Now, you may be asking, what could have possibly happened to cause Raja to attack Stu in such a brutal way? And there is an explanation, but it does not justify the outcome whatsoever. So let's rewind back to August 23rd, when Raja streamed himself attending a wrestling event in support of his friend and sparring partner, AJ Mana. And I know his outfit is hard to forget, but try your best to remember him because he plays a big role in how this all went down.
What's up, bro? What's up? Why you look like a... Really, bro? I'm just saying, bro. Like, why you wearing that, bro? You can't wear no long pants or something.
So after meeting up, AJ leads Raja to a sort of backstage area to introduce him to the other wrestlers. And this is where he meets Syko Stu for the first time. So there is a couple things that I do want to note before I continue. First one is that this meeting takes place basically right before the event. So everyone's already in costume and in character. Second, Raja's not only being followed by a cameraman, but also his cowboy buddy, who can't stop talking about him being Rampage Jackson's son. And thirdly, this is wrestling. The two main appeals are the storylines and the theatrics. So after seeing a camera and thinking it's part of the show, Stu got in Raja's face. When Raja asks where another fighter is, Stu replies in character with, "You don't need to worry about him. You need to worry about Syko Stu."
Where's the real McKill at? Where's he at?
You don't need to worry about him. You need to be worried about Syko Stu.
Syko Stu?
And from that point on, everything goes completely downhill because that's where Stu picks up a beer can and smashes it over Raja's head.
What, you don't know me?
Hell no. Yeah.
I think that's a little...
And Raja later admits that it didn't even hurt. And I feel like it's important to note that he supposedly suffered a concussion while training, only days before the event, even addressing it at the beginning of his stream, mentioning that he had to cancel previous plans due to him throwing up because of it.
How does my head feel? I'm still up. I'm not even gonna lie. It's part of the reason why I didn't stream earlier. I was supposed to stream going to paintball balling with AJ, but my head was up. I was throwing up. It was not a fake can, bro. It was not a fake can. I'm telling you that right now. It didn't hurt.
So that's why Raja was upset with Stu. But it still doesn't get close to justifying what he did later on. Because remember, he mentioned that it didn't even hurt. And the reason that is because, well, the can was a prop. In the industry, they call this a worked prop can. And any actual wrestler would realize that this is all theatrics and part of the fun. But Raja, unfortunately, is not a wrestler. And after he tried escalating things, other wrestlers stepped in to try to calm the situation. And that's when Stu found out that Raja wasn't even a part of the event at all. He was just a normal guy who came to hang out with his friend.
He's not a worker, bro. Tell him now.
Yeah, what the was that?
You're good.
What was that?
You don't sell it?
Dude, he's not a
Bro.
worker, bro.
What the was that? Hold on.
So after a tense few minutes, things finally started to settle down. But then, for some reason, the guy who just de-escalated the situation decides to completely re-escalate the situation, suggesting, hey, let's just make something out of it, by Raja jumping in the ring later on that night. And Raja was almost a little bit too excited to get his revenge on Stu, as he jumped in on the opportunity. And just remember, like 15 minutes earlier, he was saying, hey, I had to cancel plans because of my concussion. So I don't know what's going on there.
You know what's the good thing about this? Now I can make it something. I'm going to have you run in and come up in the mat. You ready for that?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Right. Talk to the president.
Yeah, if you can do that for me, I'll be cool. Yeah.
I'm sorry, bro. Hey, it's gonna all work out.
Yeah, as long as I can do that. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know about you, but it seems absolutely insane to even think about throwing in a random kid with zero experience into a ring to settle things with a guy he just tried beefing with. Eventually, though, Stu apologizes to Raja. They shake hands multiple times, and Raja even accepts his apology. That's when Stu explains his assumption about Raja being a worker, citing the camera and how they're always working.
I appreciate it.
I didn't know. I thought you were working.
I get it.
We're not working out. Well, he's gonna come out on your mat, too.
See, this makes sense, and honestly, I really don't even blame him here, because having cameras following you as you walk into an area that's mostly exclusive to performers definitely gives off the impression that you're not there to mingle. It's easy to see how people would assume that he's just a part of the set. But here's where the plot starts to thicken, because there's allegations that AJ had beef with Stu before all this stuff even happened, but we'll get into that later as well. But knowing that bit of context makes this whole next part even worse. So after AJ and Raja started to head inside, AJ seemed determined to get Raja fired up about getting into the ring, telling Raja to give him his receipt, which in wrestling terms means getting payback. And later on, AJ says he was in character for this clip, but I'll let you be the judge of that.
Wait,
No.
what he thought was he was a pro. Another thing is, even when we are working like that, you know
That's what I'm saying.
So he's an idiot. So when you run on his, you give him his receipt. Remember what a receipt is. Give him that receipt. Don't tag it. If we got a problem with it, I'll run out there.
As long as I get my lick back, I'm straight.
Okay, so not only is he literally telling Raja to not hold back, but it also appears that Raja's only concern is getting his lick back. And considering the outcome, it's safe to say this clip did not age well for either of them. This is really bad. Also, that is very convincing roleplay by AJ there, if that's really in character. At this point, Raja's sitting ringside and he's getting angry about his second. His chat is grilling him about how he handled Syko Stu, calling him a bitch for not retaliating. Then to make matters even worse, his dad, who also streams on Kick by the way, caught wind of what happened, and that results in Rampage Jackson calling Raja live on stream and absolutely humiliating him. Essentially asking Raja if it's true he got jumped by dudes in booty shorts.
That's right.
Hey, yo.
Because when I mentioned
Did you get jumped by a bunch of dudes in tights?
You said what?
Did you get jumped by a bunch of dudes in tights?
No.
I looked at your stream because my chat was going crazy. Then by the time I popped in your stream, you was hugging on the dude in some damn tights.
Man, shut up.
Man, you should. I looked at your stream, nigga, you hugging on some dude, some booty shorts. I wasn't on nobody. I saw you hugging on your coach.
Stop it.
No, I don't got no fan. I got some eyeballs.
And I guess that's the straw that broke the camel's back, because after being humiliated, not only by his stream, but also his father's much larger stream, that's when Raja started to look for any excuse to cause as much damage as possible. At one point, saying that if someone gifted 50 subs, he'd knock Stu out.
How many subs to knock him out? That's a good question. I don't know. I ain't really sub farming, but 50 subs, knock him out. Yeah, it can be 50 total. It don't have to be just 50 subs. It can be 50 total. That's what I'm at.
Dude, imagine risking a felony charge and your freedom for $175. Well, you might not actually have to imagine that, because a few hours before the event, Raja talked about his financial struggles on stream, saying that his dad is the one who's rich, not him.
Hell no, I don't got no bread, bro. I don't got no bread. That's what I'm saying. That's why I be talking to y'all. I'm just like y'all. Like, my dad got bread. That's his bread. That's not mine. It's not my bread. He's rich. I'm not rich.
And this part of the stream is definitely the worst for him, because basically, for the next hour straight, he does nothing but incriminate himself. First, saying that he was given permission to hit Stu for real, which we later found out is absolutely not the case.
Yeah, they allowed me to hit him for real. If he hits me back for real, I don't give a. I want him to. I'm dead serious, y'all. I'm really about to fuck him up.
Yeah, spoiler. Syko Stu does not hit him back. It's scary to think about what might have happened if Stu did retaliate, though. So I guess at the end of all this, you have the score tally of Stu with one worked prop can, and Raja with 23 punches to the head. Then comes the next clip, which some are arguing is proof of him planning to potentially end Syko Stu's life. As it goes from getting his lick back to knocking him out, and now finally saying, I know this guy isn't a fighter, but I won't stop hitting him until someone pulls me off.
Tell you guys this. They told me to hit him and just leave. Somebody will pull me off of him will leave. I'm telling you. I'm going to hit him as many times as I can. Watch.
Okay. Any future claims of this being an accident or poor judgment are completely null and void after that comment. But when it finally came time for Raja to enter the ring, I don't think anyone could have anticipated what would have happened next, because after leaping into the ring and essentially grabbing Stu from behind, Raja lifts him up and body slams him, knocking him out cold instantly. Then, without wasting any time, he jumps on top of an already unconscious Stu and begins his assault. Now, we've already seen this clip, but I don't need to remind you that these were not light punches. He absolutely had intentions of severely injuring this man. I mean, in a normal MMA fight, the expectation is as soon as someone's unconscious, the ref steps in, stops the fight. But for some reason here, this guy doesn't even attempt to stop Raja at any point. And yeah, he kept going. It wasn't until another wrestler, Doug Malo, jumped into the ring to finally pry Raja off, but not before he landed 23 punches directly to his head. And what's even crazier to me is, while Stu is laying there unconscious on the ground, another guy actually jumps into the ring and literally pins Stu, and the ref actually counts him out. Okay, I know this is wrestling and the show must go on, but that is just absolutely insane to prioritize theatrics over helping a man that's laying there unconscious on his back and choking on his own blood. This is just disgusting. So it took 3 or 4 guys to finally restrain Raja enough to get him escorted out of the arena. That's about when he starts yelling to his stream that he's not a and that people always think he's playing, which is just another clip that can potentially be added to the mounting stack of evidence against him.
I'm tired of everybody playing with me and shit. Think I'm always playing and shit. Call me and shit. No, bro. At the end of the day, I'm gonna stand up for myself because I'm tired of everybody playing with me, bro.
There's nothing about this situation that looks good for Raja. And then you have the clip where Raja finally learns, after all this time, that Stu still hasn't woken up. And his response to hearing that Stu, quote unquote, flatlined is, my bad.
Hello? Shit pissed me off though, Andre. My bad.
What do you mean, my bad? Like, really? Oh. It's unfortunate that some people are just straight up awful people. I'm just stuck on the whole my bad thing. Like, seriously, my bad? After hearing they couldn't wake up the guy that he just pummeled, not only on live stream, but in front of a live audience. Like, how are they still streaming at this point? Obviously, clips of the assault, they spread all across social media, and it wasn't long before everyone was talking about it, especially those in the fighting community like boxer Ryan Garcia, saying, this is probably the worst thing I've watched in a minute. Like, seriously, what was bro thinking? And remember, Rampage Jackson, his father, was also streaming, and here's his reaction to that clip of the assault.
Let me see it. He broke his face. Hey, is he gonna get banned for it? That's really bad.
That's what Chad was saying. The channel was bad.
And while he initially looked shocked at the video, he later on went to say that Syko Stu was stupid for hitting his son.
This is what happened, Chad. He went to a pro wrestling event with his coach. The pro wrestling guy don't know my son, and he hit him over the head with like a can or beer can or a bottle or something. and my son didn't know it didn't know it was coming. And he hit my son over the head. I guess he thought my son was a pro wrestler or something. And then he asked my son, "You ain't gonna sell it?" So because they hit my son is stupid.
In fact, the father didn't really seem surprised by Raja's reaction at all, because this incident resurfaced an old clip of Rampage saying that he didn't save up for college tuition money for Raja, but instead bail money.
Raja and his oldest son whole life, I knew them two wasn't going to college. And my two Japanese kids, I knew that it was going to college. So I saved up college tuition for the two Japanese kids and bail money for Raja and his brother. So don't f with him. If you go to jail, I'm just going to bail him out.
What a family. But it didn't take long for Rampage to backpedal, as he quickly follows up with a new statement where he also provides an update on Syko Stu's condition, saying, "I want to clear up the misinformation about my son Raja. I've confirmed that the wrestler Stuart Smith, aka Syko Stu, is awake and stable. Raja was unexpectedly hit on the side of the head by him and was told that he could get his payback in the ring. It was bad judgment and a work that went wrong. Raja is not a pro wrestler and had no business involved in an event like this. I don't condone my son's actions at all. He suffered a concussion from sparring only days ago and had no business doing anything remotely close to physical contact. My main concern now is that Mr. Smith makes a speedy recovery. I apologize on his behalf and to Kick for the situation." And KnokX Pro came out stating that it was supposed to be a planned and agreed upon wrestling spot, but what ended up happening was egregious and reprehensible. It's also worthwhile to note that KnokX Pro has been removed from all WWE branding on their promo material, which is pretty big when you consider that KnokX was started by WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi, which is famously known for having this guy Vince kiss his butt on live television. And like I said previously, this was being called out by pretty much everyone on the internet in the past few days. It even caught the attention of Mr. Beast, who donated $10,000 to a GoFundMe in support of Stu. But this also brought a whole nother issue to light for a lot of people, which is the culture surrounding streaming in general, with Ryan Garcia and retired UFC fighter Ben Askren saying, "This needs to be a serious conversation about streaming culture. It's getting out of hand. People love watching dumb shit, so they battle to see who can do the most stupid shit." And we have definitely been covering that here on this channel for a while now. So in my opinion, they're completely right, as less than a week before this event happened, Kick took some massive heat after someone on their platform passed away live on stream in France. But that's a discussion for another video. So now, what happens to Raja? Well, when you live stream yourself assaulting someone, there's going to be consequences. In fact, the LAPD has reportedly launched a felony battery investigation, and it's honestly not looking great for Raja, as he was just arrested on felony charges now as of the 18th of September. But at this point, it seems like we've had all the information and we were just kind of waiting for the investigation to unfold. But then an interview was dropped that exposed an entirely different and potentially darker sides of the whole thing. Earlier, we talked about Doug Mallow, the guy who jumped in to save Syko Stu's life. Well, Doug and another wrestler, Ian Morgan, both went up on the Scaling Up podcast and they did not hold back against Raja. Doug even says that he genuinely believes that Raja would have not only killed Stu, but him as well.
Do you think he wanted to continue beating up Stu?
I think he would have killed him.
If you didn't stop it, right?
I promise you he would have killed him. He would have killed me if he would have got the best of me. If he would have took my legs out from under me like he was trying to, he was going to do the same thing to me that he did to Stu. I'm telling you to calm down. I'm not even fighting. I'm not even being hostile. And then you punch me in the eye after we're breaking it up, you loser. You want clout, so you beat up a guy that's half unconscious. You punch a guy that's trying to break up a fight and not even trying to fight you. I wasn't even trying to hurt you. The is wrong with you?
So he recounted the horror of seeing Stu in the ring while women and children were crying in the crowd. He also brought some very cold claims, saying that AJ Mana, Raja's friend in the cowboy hat who incited the violence, actually had previous beef with Syko Stu and brought a volatile Raja there on purpose, more specifically to do his dirty work.
But the fact that they told you to watch out and, you know, be ready, and the fact that this had nothing to do with any of the storylines kind of shows that this was premeditated, right?
I think the premeditation part comes on the side of AJ Mana. You brought somebody that was volatile, that you knew had issues.
So real quick, that's the friend of Raja who brought him to the...
That's a small calf, small chicken legs with the cowboy hat. Let me put it this way. I don't like Raja. I think Raja's a person for what he did. But I think AJ's a bigger person for gassing him up to be in that ring, to leading him to ruin his own life, to hurt somebody that AJ also has a problem with.
He was basically trying to put the blood on someone else's hands.
Exactly.
And that's not even the craziest thing that's brought to light here, as the other wrestler next to him, Ian Morgan, proceeds to leak messages from a KnokX Pro group chat. Ian alleges that upper management are actively encouraging people from their camp to not cooperate with law enforcement, with the text saying to not engage on social media and to fly low. Then saying if contacted by law enforcement or an attorney to first come to KnokX Pro for guidance on how to address them. Huh.
The most disgusting thing, which is the reason I ultimately decided to be present for this, people at this school are being encouraged to not cooperate with the police. From what I hear, the police were there investigating the scene shortly after Stu was removed, and there has been multiple requests that have gone downstream from upper management to not talk with the police directly if they are contacted, and to only let a certain group of individuals interact with the police. That is extremely dishonest. You guys let your friend almost die, and now you're trying to have people lie for you. And you, to every single person who replied to them, yes, sir, you are all weak sacks of and I hope you rot in hell.
Which, kind of seems like obstruction of justice to me, if that's true. I don't know, though. Ian did say that this was dishonest, and that's definitely putting it lightly if that's true. It's an awful look for the Academy when they're not protecting their talent who's supposedly been there since day one. And this could also have something to do with the fact that it took over a month for them to finally arrest Raja. But let's also talk about AJ Mana, since Doug accused him of quite a lot here. AJ ended up coming out with a statement of his own on Instagram, claiming that he was speaking in character when he was then giving Raja the advice on tagging Stu and never intended to cause any real harm. He also tries to say that this was due to miscommunication behind the scenes, but we watched the entire thing live. I don't really see if there's anything behind the scenes here, because again, everything happened on the live stream. And sure, you could say that he did all this in his persona or character and didn't mean any real harm, but after watching that clip again with that context, I'm not really convinced.
When you run in on his, you give him his receipt. Remember what a receipt is? Give him that receipt, go tag his.
And Raja's father, Rampage, now announced that he believes that Raja should really spend some time in jail after that incident. And as I mentioned earlier, it now looks like that he will, but most likely it'll probably be prison and not jail, because as of recording this video, we don't have the official charges yet, but he has been arrested on felony charges. From going off of what we've covered in the story, the odds are very high that those charges are felony battery. And since his injuries definitely qualify for great bodily injury, he's looking at a max sentence of 10 years just for that one charge. And that's if he doesn't get charged with anything else. So this story is just incredibly messy, and it's just a sad display of someone putting their ego before their critical thinking skills. I'm glad that Syko Stu seems to be doing okay now, even though he has a very long recovery ahead. There will absolutely be updates on the story, maybe even by the time I post this, but I'll do my best to keep you guys updated on the story. So if you're new here, feel free to subscribe, as I'm trying to get to 2 million subscribers, so that would be awesome, guys. Drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.